I'm going to move forward with the introduction of the speaker. We have Ms. Condra Johnson DeBose, who will introduce the speaker. And I will say from the very beginning, when we tried to figure out what we would do this year, as you will see, the panels here represent some of the different themes that we have had over the years for the VCLI. And each one of them, we try to make them a little snappy, we try to make them engaging, we try to make it, when you see those, that's how we have tagged the conference. You say, I want to be there. So, and that is very important because the provost and vice president is sitting here. So it wouldn't vote too well if I've just skipped over the provost, who has made his time to come here. Very, very important, running through, I guess, jumping to get to the speaker, but not remembering to give credence to the fact that you've given your time to share with us. So we will have Dr. Weems come forward. I'm sorry.
You know, I'm so embarrassed. How are you teenagers doing? That's all right. I've seen some of you and spoke to many of you today, and I'm like, what are you doing here? And as a matter of fact, at the same time, we have a career fair going on over in the Wellness Center, and we have about 120 employers. So any of you that are ready for your second or third career, please stop by. They're looking for as many people. I mean, it's an open economy, and we need as many people as we can to fill some of those positions. I am very happy to be here today and to see so many of you in this educational experience. All of you who are members of the AAMU family in some way, shape, form, or fashion, would you please raise your hand? On behalf of the over 40,000 alums, 6,200 students, 1,200 faculty and staff, and countless members of this family, we welcome you to this wonderful, wonderful conference. It is a little difficult for me to welcome the speakers, so I'll save that joke for later on. But this is very important, and our dearly departed leader, Dr. Virginia Caples, a visionary and academician, scholar, a lady, and a friend, had this vision, and it is really, really coming to fruition. The campus community has embraced it from the Board of Trustees down, and we anticipate that you'll have one of the finest facilities to facilitate these programs in the near future. But thank you to all of the members of the Extension staff, to Dr. Alan Malone, who I do not see, but I assume he's in the building somewhere. But Dr. Wilson and others. Dr. Wilson is an academic first. She's a political scientist. And so sometimes political scientists, they're worried about the politics of everything, and they forget sometimes the protocol, right? But she's very, very smart. So anytime I can get a good joke in on her, I take that opportunity. But thank everybody for all that you do. This is a wonderful conference, and I look forward to the speaker. So on behalf of Dr. Ugini, who could not be with us today, thank you for coming, thank you for your participation, and thank you, most importantly, for your support, and for all of you who help our students and give any amount of resource or dollar or time. Thank you from the depth of our heart.
So now that we're back in order, I will say that Mrs. Condra DeBose will introduce our speaker, and it's very appropriate because when we thought about the theme, she kept saying we have got to get Dr. Stewart, insisting and making all the arrangements and talk, but she was adamant about it. So we told her, now that you're so adamant, now you will stand and let people know why you thought she needs to be our speaker for the 2019 SAI.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson, and good morning to each of you. It is indeed an honor to stand before you and introduce to you someone I, as a young child, watched and admired on television. Southern grown and down home, Dr. Tommy Tania Stewart is a native of Greenwood, Mississippi, and lives in Montgomery, Alabama. So let's take a glimpse at some of her many roles. The art of acting. Dr. Stewart has been professionally acting for more than 50 years. Some of her most memorable film performances are Mississippi Burning, A Time to Kill, The Rosa Parks Story, I Know While the Caged Bird Sings, The Wronged Man, and the latest, Come Sunday. Mississippi Burning was one of the movies that most of my generation had to watch as a class assignment, and that is one that I will never forget. Her acting home has not only been on the big screen, but also on stage and small screen, where she played her best-known role as Miss Etta Keevy in the Heat of the Night. This was the show that I would run into the living room where my great-grandparents were to watch it with them. The theme music was my cue. Other television roles were Walker, Texas Ranger, Matlock, and of course, there were many more. Her role in the film adaptation of John Grissom's A Time to Kill, Dr. Stewart was nominated for a NAACP Image Award and for the narration of the Public Radio International series, Remembering Slavery. She has won the New York World Festival Gold Medal Award. Now we'll look at the art of education. After earning her BS degree in speech and theater from Jackson State University and an MA in theater arts from the University of California at Santa Barbara, Dr. Stewart completed her doctorate in theater arts at Florida State University in 1989, becoming the first African-American female to receive a doctorate of theater arts and the first McKnight Doctoral Fellow in the arts and theater arts. She was tenured professor and dean at Alabama State University, the other school. As dean of the College of Visual and Performing Arts, she guided the departments of visual arts, theater arts, and music. The art of motivating and mentoring. Dr. Stewart has a passion for cultivating the skill of performing arts. Through her own Tania Stewart Performing Arts programs, she shaped the lives of young people from Alabama and across the country who come to ASU to participate in these programs. These programs are designed to introduce students to self-control, self-worth, self-affirmation, and the creative process. The focus is to motivate, validate, and create artistic expression. To pour positively into your students is to pour positively into the future. Dr. Stewart once was asked, what one actress or actor and director would you love to work with? The answer she gave was the one of an invested educator. She answered, it would be powerful to perform with my students and be guided by the directions of one of them. I know how great they are. The world deserves to see us together. Her response alone was dynamic. Maybe one day we'll be able to see this product. The art of hat balancing. Along with being a professional actress, tenured professor, and dean, Dr. Stewart is also a playwright and National Museum exhibit director. She has also served as a spokesperson for the One Church, One Child of Alabama and for NOSAP, a Texas-based youth development organization. She was inducted into the National Black College Alumni Hall of Fame and hold honorary doctorates from Buena Vista University in Storm Lake, Iowa, Jarvis Christian College in Hawkins, Texas, Talladega College in Talladega, Alabama, and Tuskegee University in Tuskegee, Alabama. Then we have the art of retirement. Dr. Stewart retired this summer, her role as professor and dean at Alabama State University. She has been an educator for 48 years. During her tenure at ASU, more than 56 of her graduates have earned the Master of Fine Arts degree. I must say she has a very nice track to look back on and to remember. Then finally, there's the art of woman. As it has been briefly depicted, Dr. Stewart's journey has been quite colorful, full, and impactful. However, I'd most likely be spot on to say that her greatest roles are wife, mom, and grandmother, where she has also played the role of educator, performer, motivational speaker, and even nurse. She is married to the Dr. Alan Stewart. They have 3 children and 5 grandchildren. I now present to you President Barack Obama deemed a champion of change, the gifted, talented, spirited, successful agent, Dr. Tommy Tania Stewart.
Lord, to me, it's so wonderful. Lord, to me, it's so wonderful. Lord, to me, it's so wonderful to know that Jesus is mine. Yes. To me, it's so wonderful. Child, to me, it's so wonderful. Lord, to me, it's so wonderful. Oh, to know that Jesus is mine. Sometimes I should be lonely, sometimes sad, but my heart is so contented that I feel real glad. Church bells can be ringing, but my heart is singing. Oh, it's wonderful, glorious, divine. Ain't it wonderful? Wonderful. Thank you, Ms. DeBose. That was a really neat introduction. Fantastic. And to the members of the dais, Dr. Williams, to our president in his absence, to Reverend Davis, Ms. Richardson, Dr. Richardson, Dr. Wilson, and all of the members of this fantastic extension service, and to all of the members of the club that joined today. It's just amazing and a blessing to stand here. I'm honored because when you think of Dr. Caples, knowing that she's from Mississippi, where I'm from, knowing that she's from the Delta, where I'm from, knowing that she's a visionary educator and made history as the first woman president, interim or not, it was president at Alabama A&M. I am just honored to stand here. And I ask you to allow me to acknowledge the presence of my husband, my handsome husband, Dr. Alan Stewart. We met at another HBCU at Jackson State University. He saw this little wide-eyed girl named Tommy Harris, and the next thing I knew, I looked into his eyes and I said, that's the one. That's the one. And also with me today is my wonderful brother, Dr. Johnny Harris. You know him from Drake as president and from being at Alabama A&M as well. It's just wonderful. God is so good. Representative Hall, I saw you in the hallway. I hope you're still here. I know that we've lost a dynamic citizen. If she's not here, I just want to thank her too. And thank God for using her. Oh, it's wonderful, glorious, divine. When you look around this room and you recognize the fact that it's a lot of history here. The art of storytelling is waiting to be told. The art of poetry is waiting to be written. When you look around this room, the cakes and the what's that you like, Alan? Tea cakes? The cakes and the tea cakes and the pies need to be put in a book that we will put together because we've got great cooks and chefs and food planners and nurturers right here in this room. We have expert edges, men that know how to make the greenery shaped like the moon if they want to. We have men that can come together like with my brother Johnny and get these young folk to put them on the eBay, not eBay, on the website and have a web page where young people can talk to them face to face and have FaceTime and get counseling on how to be a man. We have in this room all kinds of leaders who know how to adorn our hair. And I brought something for you. I want you to indulge me to remind you, because see, a lot of us don't remember the press and pulling iron. A lot of us don't remember the hot comb. My sister-in-law Minnie still get hers hot comb. All right? A lot of us don't remember. The baby doll that was Topsy, they said Topsy, well see, when the little white girl was there, this was who they played with. But when the master would leave, little Topsy was on the other end. Our young people don't know these stories. They don't know this history. They don't know this legacy. They don't know the powerful impact of the chains. Actual slave shackles. My friend, Mr. Coach Ron Dickerson, allowed me to bring his chains because I want us to know that the day of the chain is broken and we're no longer chained to saying that I can't. We're no longer chained to saying I won't. We're no longer chained to saying, I just don't feel like I can do anything today. I'm just going to sit. We got to get out of those chains. Break those chains. It's a new day. It's a new era. And we're making a new step. People say, you retired? I said, I retired from Alabama State. I did not retire from life. The art of what I would like to do is based on what we have been through. We've witnessed too much, experienced too much, taken part in too much, endured too much to give up now. We're right at the right place in the right time because we are the survivors. We are the chosen. God took some from us that were close to us, but he left us here for a reason. So our theme today is, I am here. I am here. I am here to make a difference. I am here to bring the art inside of me out. Some of us know the old songs that they don't sing anymore. That's why I started with, To Me It's So Wonderful. Some songs that I can't remember, you know. And we need to pass those songs on. Some of us know how to do calligraphy with the pen. We write so well, children don't even know how to write curtsy anymore. But we can help with that. Some of us know how to tell a story by patching together quilt pieces. Some of us know the history of our families and the children don't know it, and we need to not only tell them but make them put it in and make a chart. so they'll know the genealogy. I have my children working on it right now because they are learning Dr. Johnny Harris. And Dr. Johnny Harris's children are learning Dr. Tommy Tania Stewart. Because the quilt was not made clear enough. The genealogy chart was not made clear enough. We need to know who we are, where we are, why we are, and where we came from. It's left up to us to tell the youth the story, to help them to, we're the best teachers of manners than anybody can ever do. They don't even teach it anymore, etiquette and manners. We know how a young person should extend their hand and look at a person eye to eye and say, good morning. We know how to tell them to stand up and hold your head up and say your name. Stop dotting your head down. What's your name, Ash? Hold your head up. And take that little tight skirt off. Baby, when you walk around showing your stomach with that midriff cut and that tight skirt, you bend over to sign a paper, folk have to turn their head because they don't know what they're going to see. Let me tell you that it's not what you show, it's what you hide that's important. Boy, pull up those britches. I love you. I raised you to be a man. Pull them up, stand up, hold your shoulders back, walk like a man, talk like a man, not like some gangster with something hanging down and you can't even help me with my groceries because you got to pull them up, pull them up. It is left up to us. That's why the Lord spared us. He gave us in Isaiah 40, I think in 4. He said to us, I will be with you always, even when your head turns white. I made you and I will take care of you. I will carry you to the end of the world for all of your life. And is he not doing it? Well, he's doing it. But I have high blood pressure and I have diabetes and I have arthritis and I have... Don't you know that that's the Lord's way of making us slow down so we can acknowledge him? It's not to wipe us out, it's to make us pay attention. It's a little slap on the back like they did when we were born to make us cry to say, I'm here. So we let those things do what they got to do. But let us use our mind and our spirit and our love and our joy of knowing that it's wonderful, it's glorious, divine to be here, to have our faculties, to be able to see, to walk, to talk, to do the things that we can do. Everybody can't see it. Everybody can't walk as fast. Everybody can't talk as fast. But we know how to look you in the eye and stare at you and hold you and touch you and say, baby, you gonna be something one day. I hear it in your voice. I even notice it when you walk past me. You don't walk like you want to run. You walk like you're taking your time because I can tell when you talk that you're thinking. Plant the seed. That's what our forefathers did. Plant the seed. That's what our grandmothers and grandfathers did. Plant the seed. And when we plant it, God takes care of the rest. If we make one step, he will surely make two. My grandmother one day caught me and she was fussing at me about something and I stomped my foot and she said, baby sister. I said, ma'am, pull up that weed right there. Pull them all up. I just said pull up that weed right there. I pulled up the weed. Now put it there by your bed. Mama, what's this? Just listen to what I say. Good night, baby. The next morning, baby sister. Yeah, ma'am. Where the weed? It right there. Look at it. I'm looking at it, Mama. What's wrong with it? Withered up. Look like it's dead. Uh-huh. Just how you gonna be the next time you... I sat straight up in the bed. Well, what I do, Mom? I said, she said, when I talked to you yesterday and I was trying to tell you what was right, you gonna stomp your feet and put your hand on your hip. You see, I had the impulse to pluck it out of you. But instead, I want you to study that weed. Because see, if that weed stay rooted in the ground and allow the Lord's sunshine to come down on it and his blessings of water to nurture it, it'll grow into a tall tree. But long as it's got an attitude and blocking out what I'm trying to tell you to do, you get snuffed up. Now you make your choice. The next time I'm talking to you, you stand still and you listen. Because God does it to us every day. He said, peace be still. And you know, I heard a minister not long ago say, I don't remember the last time I ran behind the garbage truck. I looked at the lady next to me and said, what's wrong with him? He said, well, I'm just telling y'all, when have you ever run behind the truck? He looked around, people said, no, don't run behind no garbage truck. Uh-huh. When we take our burdens to the Lord, how come we walk away with it? You see, it's just like when you put your trash in the garbage truck. You take it, you leave it there, and you let the truck take it on to do what has to be done with it. You don't run behind and say, give me back my garbage. And I took it a little further in my mind. I said, run behind the car. Hey, give me back my garbage. No. So when we take our troubles, even today at this age in our lives, we need to remember, give it to the Lord. Let him take it and work it. And then we go on with our faith because we know what faith means. We understand what faith means. It's the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. The preacher said one time, it was at a funeral somewhere we were, and he said, yes, just like when we used to sit around the kitchen table. Mom and them would have the chicken, and they'd give us some gravy and biscuits, because we didn't have much. There was so many of us. So we would eat that gravy and biscuit, and we could taste the essence of the chicken. The substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. A lot of people say, how you come up with it? I'm not coming up with it, I lived it. You know my glory, but you don't know my story. And we don't have to tell everybody our story because we give it to the Lord and he'll do the rest. So when we walk around today and we see our hair getting white and our steps getting slower, I put on these shoes trying to impress you all. But I walked in the building with some that felt a little more stable. And when we make those kinds of changes in our lives, that we know we got to change shoes, we know we got to loosen our belt, we know we got to slow our step, it's all right. You're still here. I am here. People say, how you doing? Say, I'm doing good. I'm above the ground. Because I got things to do. I'm left here for a reason. Many are called and few are chosen. Heaps see, but a few know. A lot of old proverbs, a lot of old sayings that our parent, our grandparent, our mothers and our fathers said to us. They said it because they remembered the shackles. They said it because we've seen the changes of life, but we know the foundation of where it comes from. No matter how we perm our hair today, it's still nappy in its natural state. No matter what kind of technical device we use to talk on today, we started out with a can and a string, And then we had the operator assisted calls. Then we had the party line. Then we had the rotary phone. Then we had the dial, the punch dial phone. All of these things, but no matter what we were doing, we were still trying to communicate. And today we do it with the cell phone and we text and all of that, but we're still communicating. And when our young people are not communicating to us because we can't see the message clear enough, they can FaceTime you. They can still talk to you and call you, and you can still call them because you can put it on speed dial and just hit number 1. And when you call them, have something to say to them. Leave them with something on their mind because they're not thinking as deep as we can think. They have no idea. We are still the best babysitters, the best nurturers, the best motivators. We are still the wisdom. That's why the crown, because of the wisdom. And it deserves the respect of our children, telling their children, you go and visit and talk to and listen to grandpa and grandma. And come back and tell me some of the things. Have them say, did they talk to you about what we talked about? Well, I don't like for them to know all that stuff about no slavery and civil rights and all of that. We're past that now, marches. Where my sister from Selma? Where my sister from Selma? You did it. You did it. And we need to keep praising you and recognizing you and thanking you because you didn't have to do it. You could have given up. You could have fallen out. You could have been too scared. You could have been ashamed that the white folk wouldn't like you for doing it. And then we have some white members here who helped out too. And they could have stopped. Reverend Gratz is right now in Montgomery. He and his wife house bombed 3 times because he was a white minister of the Lutheran Church with a black congregation. And he worked and walked with Dr. King and Rosa Parks and E.D. Nixon. But he didn't give up. Now, why is the Lord saving Reverend Gratz? He's about 93 years old now. And he and his wife talk about the things that happened and why they did what they did. We need to hear those stories. We need to reiterate. We need to revisit. We need to highlight all the good that we can to help our children, because if they don't know it, they will be condemned to repeat it. You know, when you think about these days, you think about I always like to talk about the Tates. It's some in our generation too. You know the Tates. Oh, imitate. Trying to copy everybody's idea and claim it as their own. Or agitate, stirring up trouble all the time. Oh my goodness, potentate, don't mention potentate. Got to be in charge. Got to be in charge. We don't have time for that. We need to acknowledge and realize who has the leadership potential in the group. And whatever potential they have, we didn't give it to them. And they didn't achieve it on their own. That was God designed. And we got to know that let's look around our church and look around our community and recognize who's here. We got some of our members in the community who are not agitate and imitate and potentate, but they're the ones that brings everything together. They facilitate. So we need a facilitator of teaching our young folk how to prepare a basket of love and take it to the nursing home. How to prepare a basket of love at Easter and Christmas for those children who have no parent who love them and taking care of them today. We need a facilitator to even acknowledge we've got some of us who look a little better, kept ourselves in a little good shape, still dressing in coordinated colors and wearing our little earrings. So let's have us a senior fashion show. Let's let the handsome man that's still a deacon at the church and wearing his suits and got a little dap in his step, let him escort us down the runway. Let's make some purpose in our lives. And then we have some that are in the wheelchair, but they still wear those fancy hats and got their little mink stole on their shoulders. Let them roll down the runway and let us say, hallelujah, I'm here. Artistically, we can say a lot of things to lift the morale and help each other. What you say in the morning in your mind will either lift you up or put you down. We want to be lifted up, and we want to lift each other up because the way is already made. What does it rob you or me for giving a little joy to somebody sitting next to us? What does it take away from us to give them a smile and just to say, thank you for what you're doing? What makes us feel like, because they're now 62 and 70 and they can still cook, that they got to wait on us at the school, at the church, what you call that room? The fellowship hall. Let's get a day where we're going to serve all of the senior members of the church. And they cook for us. And let us tell them when we taste it what they're missing. That's where we are. Let's coordinate together and facilitate each other. Let's praise the success of what we've achieved. I saw Montraville Williams' mother in here from Huntsville, and this young man sings like a mockingbird. Went to Brandeis, got his MFA, and now he's doing another degree, I think she said. I'm so proud that he's had some trials in life, and every trial he's had, I would say to him, Monty, that's your testimony. You got to understand that's your testimony. God is still he's bringing you through. Always know that there is a testimony. And that testimony is a story. It may be written in a poem. It may be a book. And you don't even have to write the book. Today you get a little microphone or use your telephone and tell the story and then get the young grandchild to type it up. Just talk it out. Don't take it away from here. It won't do these children any good in the grave. It won't do your neighbor any good. Say, she knew it all. I don't know nothing about it. I know that the church did this, and I know they had their community. It was a lady. I don't know her name. Well, somebody say, I've seen it all. I've done it all. I was there for it all, but I can't remember it. While we can remember it, let's record it. We have a strong, rich, vibrant history as a people, as Americans, as black people, as white people, as Jewish people, as Indian people. We have so much to be thankful for. Why don't we give God his glory? We have so much. We witnessed the trials of civil rights. We witnessed the assassination of Kennedy and his brother and Dr. King. We witnessed the funeral of Mahalia Jackson and Aretha Franklin and Emmett Till and the Greensboro Four sitting at the lunch counter. We witnessed all of that history, the bombing in the church in Birmingham. We witnessed the president being the first black president and elected for 2 terms. Something we thought we'd never see in our lifetime. We need to use the words that come from the gut, not an educated, elaborate term, but the gut of how we felt when we witnessed that. Some of us, I was with a lady when it happened and she couldn't see. She said, baby, is everybody smiling? I said, yes, ma'am. They're smiling and tears streaming down their eyes. Oh, hallelujah. Baby, what is he looking like? I said, he's standing there with his head up high. I said, his ears look like they're standing out wider from side to side. She said, oh, I hope he know to look to the hills from whence cometh my help. She said, I'm here to hear about it and to see it for myself. I said, now you can't see it now. She said, you don't know what I can see. I'll never forget it. I just turned around and hugged her neck because she was telling the truth. I want to leave you with the story that I always tell wherever I go. And I've told every Christmas, you know, my husband can attest to this. My children and all of we have 3 children, but we've raised at least 7 others within the family to come and actually live in our home. And they have to all get on the telephone on Christmas Eve to hear me recite "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." So now they have to also hear something that I had buried deep inside of me until I graduated from Florida State University, because I had no idea how all of that happened. I'm driving home from Tallahassee by myself with my car packed with books and plants and clothes, and I'm thinking, ooh-wee, doctor, I couldn't believe it. For real? I'm just driving. Yay! Wait till I get back to Greenwood, Mississippi. Oh, they ain't gonna know what to say. I'm just talking to myself. Song came on the radio, and it zipped me right back to the garret in the Delta. Oh, okay, the garret, that's the front porch. Okay. That's what we call in the Delta, the garret. And there was Papa Dallas sitting in a rocking chair, just like he used to rock when I was growing up. We all had jobs to do. My job was to take care of Papa Dallas. He lived to be 107 years old. And this is why it's so appropriate for me to be here today, because I've told it everywhere else. Anybody that's ever heard me speak anywhere will tell you she's going to tell the Papa Dallas story. And I want to pass on to you to tell your Papa Dallas story. As a little girl, they say a lad when I was growing up, it was my job to lead him back in the house when he needed to go get his coffee and his water, and to stay within ear's reach of Papa Dallas. Different people would stop by, and you see, Papa Dallas was blind. And they would come up the dirt road, and he said, oh, here they come. He would call out who was coming up the dirt road by their footsteps. He was so good at whatever this gift was that God had given him that he could tell who was coming if they didn't say anything. He could tell by their footsteps. Here come my preacher man. How you doing today, preacher man? He said, it's me, all right, Papa Dallas. It's TB. But I told you the last time I ain't going to be no preacher man. I'm going to be a baseball player. Oh, preacher man, preacher man. Shows your bone, shows your bone. And he kept on rocking. Then in a few minutes, here come my playmate, SMA. She had long braids, skipping up the dirt road. He said, here come my gal, my pretty gal nurse. SMA, how you doing today? Now, Papa Dallas, it's me, all right, but remember now, I'm not going to be a nurse. I don't like to be around sick people, and I'm scared of blood. That's all right, daughter. Nurse SMA. Shows your bone, shows your bone. He was just rocking in that chair. All of this came back to me when I'm driving home, thinking that I made it. Hey. I remembered turning to Papa Dallas one day and saying, Papa Dallas, what happened to your eyes? He said, oh, daughter, it's a long story. I don't like to talk about it much. You see, Papa Dallas had some ugly scars around his eyes. He said, but maybe you's the one I need to tell it to. I said, me? Yeah, because you're going to be a spokesperson one day. I said, Papa, that a spokesperson. I don't even not know what that is. He said, that's all right, daughter. Spokesperson, rocking in his chair. Shows your bone, shows your bone. He said, now look down here on the garret, muss my feet, and see if you see a book down there. I remember getting on my knees and looking under his rocking chair. I said, I got the book, Papa Dad, I got it. He said, what does it say? And this is how I remembered I was very young, because I didn't know how to read yet. So I tried to sound out. Today we said phonetically pronounce, but then we said sound it out. The alphabets. I said, it said B, I, B, L, E, Bible. He said, no, daughter, Bible. That very book you ought to learn to read. I need you to promise me that you's going to study that book, because, daughter, that book will teach you how to love your enemies as your friend. That book will teach you the difference between right and wrong. That book got some of the best astrology you're ever going to study. It's the best literature ever written. That's a powerful book. And you see, daughter, as a lad, I always wanted to learn to read that book. And I wanted to learn to read and write. But I was a slave child and hit us against the law. But I used to steal away under a big oak tree, and there I tried to learn my alphabets. But that overseer, he caught me. And he dragged me out on the plantation, and he called all the field hands. And he said, I want this to be a lesson to all of you darkies. You ain't got no right to learn to read and write. It's against the law. And then, daughter, he whooped me. And he whooped me. And he whooped me. And as if that wasn't enough, he turned around and he burned my eyes out. I remember standing there. Seemed like it was yesterday. The chills ran up and down my spine. I couldn't even look at that moment at Papa Dallas's eyes right there. I just cried out, I'm sorry. Papa Dallas, I didn't know. I'm so sorry. Shh, hush up now. Don't you cry for me. Because you see, without eyes, seem like I can see further than those who have eyes. So, I want you to promise me something. I remember throwing my little hand up in the air. Yes, sir, I'm going to promise me that from this day on, you's going to pick up every book you can, and you's going to read it from cover to cover. I will, Papa Dad. I got to pick up every book I can. I'm going to read it from cover to cover. And promise me, yes, sir, promise me you's going to go all the way through school. Yes, sir, I'm going to go all the way through school. Because ain't nobody going to burn your eyes out or beat you to stop you from learning today. Yes, sir. Now, one more thing I want you to promise me. Promise me that you's going to tell all the children my story. I will. I'm going to tell all the children your story. I thought he meant SMA in them. I didn't know he meant coming to Huntsville to tell all of these children his story. The first place I told the story after it came back to me, because I'd never talked about Papa Dallas for all those years. I guess I had a mental block at losing him, but I couldn't wait to get back to Jackson and call my sorority sisters and tell all the Zetas, I got something I got to tell y'all. I told them the story, and they embraced me. And it gave me the strength to recall the story, but I can't tell it without feeling like I feel right now. Because it's real. And you know, SMA, he became a nurse. And T.B. Brown, he became a preacher man. He ran for bishop of the AME church. And me, I guess I'm a spokesperson. Plant the seed. Plant the seed. We are here. Oh, to me, it's so wonderful to know that Jesus is mine. Praise God.
We almost need some time to just soak it in and not have another voice disturb our minds because our minds have been filled so much. I can't think of another person who could have so well personified our theme today, the art of aging, and how you use what you had from the past to help you carry on the story into the future. And we all have a role and responsibility. She's given us some fabulous lessons. And we all need to check ourselves about what we're passing on and those stories that our children need to hear about those persons that on whose shoulders we're standing, and why it's important that if someone might not have a story, that you share yours, because we all are part of this greater story of who we've become and the shoulders on which we stand. So if you ever are in need of somebody to remind you of lessons, and the power of a lesson and how far a lesson can carry you. You have heard a speaker who cannot be outperformed when it comes to bringing in the emotions and the power of standing fully in your presence and acknowledging and thanking God for who you are. And we thank her for the gift that she shares so well with the world. We'd like to invite Reverend James Childress to come. Let us have grace before we exit so that when you get your food, you can feel privileged to eat it and not wait for us to have a corporate prayer, because we're going to do it here.
Let us bow our heads. Eternal God, we come at this time and at this place just to say thank you for this day. We thank you for your son who died upon the cross, but he didn't stay dead on that third appointed morning. He got up with all power in his hand. Father, we thank you for those who have put this program together. We ask you to continue to bless it in a mighty way. We thank you for Dr. Capel's legacy, Father. Father, now there has been some food prepared for our bodies. We can't bless it, but we know that you can. May it be nourishment to our bodies. In your Son, Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
morning.